Part 79. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 781. Buzz. Following Su Yang's loud shout, the key to the East Palace appeared instantly, suspended in mid-air, exuding terrifying pressure. Swish, swish, swish. At this moment, Master Fengzi, Master Su, and Qinghai all stopped and looked at the key to the East Palace in mid-air with shocked faces. Is this, the Quasi-Emperor's treasure? There was a look of disbelief in Su Gong's eyes, and he said to himself, it must be the Quasi-Emperor's treasure. What a powerful aura! What is the origin of Su Yang? Regarding the Void Tower, I heard the Master mention it. Back then, Immortal Emperor Xiantian gave the Void Tower to Suwuji. Suwuji participated in the bet, abandoned the Void Tower, and handed it over to future generations for safekeeping. So it's not surprising that the Void Tower appears in Su Yang's hands. Qinghai frowned and said, but what is the origin of this so-called key to the East Palace? It is at least a Quasi-Emperor's treasure. Are there so many Quasi-Emperor's treasures on the earth that it is a disaster? Have you forgotten that the earth once was glorious? During the immortal Qin period, the strong were like a forest, no weaker than some cultivation star fields. Seeing this, Mr. Fengzi explained, back then, Immortal Emperor Yanlong held the gate of time and space and cleaned up part of it, but there must have been Quasi-Emperors who left behind. It's not surprising that Su Yang possesses the Quasi-Emperor treasure. You two don't need to panic. This is a good thing. Mr. Fengzi smiled playfully and said, now Su Yang has just set foot on nascent soul. No matter how many tricks he has, he will definitely not be our opponent. With his current spiritual energy, he simply cannot exert the power of the Quasi-Emperor treasure. That Void Tower is not only a Quasi-Emperor treasure, it must have a huge demand for spiritual energy. Mr. Fengzi narrowed his eyes slightly and said, he is definitely no match for the three of us. These two treasures are really a waste in his hands. When his energy is exhausted, wouldn't it be beautiful if we divided up the treasure? Hearing this, both Shu Gong and Qinghai were tempted. Especially Su Gong, there was a flash of greed in his eyes, as if he was determined to get the treasure. As for Qinghai, although he didn't show it, his desire for the Quasi-Emperor's treasure was clearly felt. He. Seeing this, Su Yang was not in a hurry to take action, but smiled softly and said, three of you, I only have two treasures, but you have three of them. No matter how you divide it, one person will always leave empty-handed. Have you thought about this problem? Su Yang spoke bluntly and said with a playful smile, how about you three fight first? Anyway, I am already a turtle in the urn and can't run away. The weakest among you is not eligible to receive the treasure. This is fair. Su Yang, shut up. Hearing this, Mr. Fengzi immediately said seriously, when fish and clams fight, the fisherman will benefit. Su Yang, you tasted the benefits last time in Jufeng Mountain. Do you think the same method will be effective the second time? You don't think I'm stupid, do you? Fengzi. After Su Yang heard what Su Yang said, he smiled and said, I think what Su Yang said makes sense. How to divide two treasures between three people? Who wants to lose? Su Gong said with a smile, why don't we just follow what Su Yang said, the three of us will fight each other to feel each other's strength, and the weakest one will not participate in the division. Shu Gong, you must not do this. Mr. Fengzi said cautiously, this kid Su Yang is cunning and insidious. We must not be fooled by him. What if we take action, consume our strength, and ultimately become unable to suppress Su Yang? That makes sense. Mr. Su nodded, then said seriously, however, the issue of ownership of the Void Tower and the key to the East Palace must be resolved, otherwise the three of us will have great conflicts, which is not conducive to unity. Yeah, indeed. Mr. Fengzi agreed with these words, and then suggested, let's do this. After Su Yang is dealt with, we can fight again. Then we won't be afraid of Su Yang's tricks. Okay. Mr. Shu agreed and felt that Mr. Fengzi's proposal was feasible. That's good. Su Yang, who was standing next to him, heard the conversation between the two and raised the corners of his mouth slightly, then gritted his teeth and said fiercely, Master Fengzi, among the three of you, you are the one I hate the most. When the fight starts later, I will put all the power of the two treasures on you. Even if I die, you will be seriously injured. Su Yang smiled playfully and said, I believe that the two of them will definitely not fight against the treasure with you. After all, if I launch an attack regardless of the consequences, even if the three of you join forces, you will be injured. I didn't attack them. Instead of everyone being injured, they must have thought that it would be better for you to get seriously injured yourself. Su Yang smiled and said, in this case, you have no deterrent effect. Who will care about you being seriously injured? At that time, the two of them will take away two treasures. As for your life or death, well, I guess you will die in the hands of your own people. With that said, Su Yang controlled the key to the East Palace and took a step forward, his eyes full of determination. Come on, Master Fengzi, take the move. Wait a moment. When Master Fengzi heard this, he suddenly panicked and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Immediately afterwards, Mr. Fengzi showed a sarcastic smile and said, Shu Gong, Qinghai, I think we still need to finalize the ownership of the treasure before taking action. Scared. Mr. Fengzi was really scared. Damn. Su Yang hated him. Although the three of them attacked together, Su Yang would definitely catch him and beat him up. As for Su Gong and Qinghai, they may not necessarily help him, so wouldn't he be miserable? Thinking of this, Mr. Fengzi felt that it was necessary to first clearly discuss the ownership of the Void Tower and the key to the East Palace. Gee, I also think it's better to divide 1 point first. This will help us unite internally and deal with Su Yang better. Mr. Su smiled softly, and then suggested, Qinghai, we all see Fengzi's strength. Neither you nor I can be his opponent. He must be one of the two treasures. Let's do this, Qinghai. The two of us will compete against each other and whoever wins will get another treasure. Su Gong looked at Qinghai and suggested. It doesn't have to be that troublesome. Unexpectedly, Lord Su shook his head, as if he didn't take the Quasi-Emperor's treasure into consideration at all, and said with a free and easy smile, you two are both stronger than me. I still have this self-awareness. So, I never planned to fight for the Quasi-Emperor treasure. It will be fine between the two of you. Qinghai was very selfless and smiled softly, I just hope that you two can take care of me more in the future. If you have any good things that I can't use up, share them with me. I will prosper in the future. Just don't forget me as my little brother. Even if one day you become a big shot in the world, you can let me go to your palace and serve as a guard for you. This will be my greatest honor. Qinghai said sincerely, keeping his attitude very low. When Mr. Fengzi and Mr. Su heard these words, their favorable impressions of Qinghai suddenly increased. Qinghai, I have wronged you. Mr. Fengzi was a little moved, his eyes fell on Qinghai, and he said, don't worry, if I have the opportunity to reach the peak in the future, I will definitely not forget you. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 782. And I. For once, Su Gong was serious and said, I can swear that you will be my good brother from now on and will never betray you forever. If anyone dares to touch a hair of yours, they are going against me, Su Gong. Haha, Fengzi, Shigong, you are too polite. Qinghai touched his nose and said with a self-deprecating smile, I just have no choice. If I am stronger than you, I will definitely fight for it. Until now, I can't beat you again and again, so I can only compromise. Giggle, Qinghai, you are real. Shu Feng laughed heartily, even more convinced that Qinghai was weaker than him. Qinghai. Mr. Fengzi had a better impression of Qinghai, and then comforted him, "You can't share the two quasi-emperor treasures this time, but don't worry, there must be many more on Earth. Mr. Su and I, if we encounter each other in the future, the quasi-emperor's treasure will be given to you as compensation. In that case, thank you both very much." Qinghai expressed his gratitude on the surface, but his posture was very low. He just had to kneel down and salute Fengzi and Shugong. But Fengzi and Shugong didn't notice that a sneer appeared in Qinghai's eyes and disappeared in a flash. This Qinghai has something special. Su Yang possesses the soul of the immortal emperor, so he is naturally aware of it and is a little more wary of Qinghai. Originally, he planned to kill 3 soldiers with 2 peaches, but now it seems that he has no chance. However, since this Qinghai is hidden in front of Mr. Fengzi and Mr. Su, he will definitely not use his full strength easily. It is estimated that Qinghai wanted to save his strength during the big fight, and wait until Su Yang and Fengzi Master Shugong were exhausted from the fight, then he would take action to clean up the mess. If this is the case, Su Yang still has a chance to defeat them one by one. Kill Su Yang, suffer death. While Su Yang was thinking about this, Master Fengzi, Master Su, and Qinghai all attacked Su Yang in unison. Su Yang controlled the key to the East Mansion, his strength was strengthened, and he suddenly came forward. Boom! 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 In this way, the 4 people fought together, and the aftermath of the battle wreaked havoc on the scene. The defensive ability of the key to the East Mansion is definitely not as good as that of the Void Tower, which possesses the mother energy of all things. However, as long as Su Yang makes a thought, the key to the East Mansion will cut through the void at a rapid speed and attack the person Su Yang wants to attack. During the fight, the key to the East Palace was suspended above Su Yang's head, ready to go. Su Yang, on the other hand, kept using the end of the world and the Samsara fist. Wherever he went, the key to the East Mansion would follow. Whenever someone was approaching Su Yang and wanted to kill Su Yang, he would make a thought and let the key of the East Palace crush him. No matter it is Mr. Fengzi, Mr. Su, or Qinghai, they dare not face the key of Dongfu directly. They need to avoid its sharp edge, otherwise they will definitely be injured. Using this method, the 3 of them, Su Yang and Mr. Fengzi, started fighting, and it was hard to tell the winner for a moment. At the same time, outside a hot pot restaurant. Hey, I remember there was a 4-story building here. The lower 3 floors were a hot pot restaurant and the top floor was a pedicure shop. Why is the building gone now? Did you remember it wrong? Isn't this just an empty space? There is nothing. No, I remember it very clearly. I came here to eat hot pot last week. It tasted very good. What a ghost. In such a short period of time, a 4-story building disappeared out of thin air. You must be remembering it wrong. There is no sign of construction starting. Indeed, is it really because my memory is confused and the hot pot restaurant is on another street? Because the hot pot restaurant was hidden by the Void Tower, passers-by were confused. In the crowd, Bai Qi, who was wearing a suit and leather shoes, looked at the open space in front of him and frowned slightly. Su Yang, what the hell are you doing? You can just use the Void Tower to kill the 3 of them. Why did you bring the hot pot restaurant into the dimensional space? Bai Qi whispered, if you behave like this, how can I see you being beaten up by the 3 of them? If I don't see you being beaten into a dog with my own eyes, I won't feel at ease. Thinking of this, Bai Qi raised his hand and prepared the barrier of the Void Tower. Although the Void Tower is very strong, it has not yet fully recovered, and Su Yang is weak, so the current barrier is very fragile for Bai Qi. As long as Bai Qi is willing, he can easily tear open the barrier and see the scene inside. No. Suddenly, Bai Qi put down his hand and murmured to himself, If I do this, Su Yang will definitely find me observing. After all, he is the master of the Void Tower. If Su Yang knew that I was watching him being abused, he would definitely be dissatisfied with me. This kid Su Yang has good talent and good luck. His future achievements are limitless. I don't want him to hate me. Bai Qi thought for a while, and then said, "Forget it, I'll just stay here." Although Su Yang is no match for the three of them, Su Yang has two treasures. If he wants to leave, those three little outsiders will definitely not be able to stop him. Bai Qi smiled and said, "I'm waiting here to see Su Yang running away in embarrassment with a bruised nose and swollen face. Tisk, 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 I feel so happy when I think of that scene." About 10 minutes later, Su Yang's spiritual energy has been almost exhausted. Controlling a treasure as high as the key to the East Mansion is indeed very costly. On the other hand, the three masters of Fengzi each suffered some minor injuries, but the problem was not serious, and only half of their spiritual energy was used up. If the fight continues, Su Yang will be defeated and dead within 5 minutes. Fengzi, there's no point in delaying it any longer. Let's use our strongest attack together to kill Su Yang at this time, Qinghai suddenly suggested. Inappropriate. Mr. Fengzi shook his head, glanced at the Void Tower fearfully, and said, "Su Yang hasn't used the Void Tower yet, let's slowly consume him. We have been fighting for so long, and Su Yang has been in life and death situations several times, but he would rather be injured than use the Void Tower. It is obvious that he cannot control two treasures at the same time." Qinghai encouraged, "Although the three of us can afford it, consuming too much is not a good thing. After all, there are other cultivators on the earth." "Fengzi, I think Mr. Shu is right." Su Gong agreed and said, "Not to mention Su Yang, even I am afraid that I cannot control two quasi-emperor level treasures at the same time. He can only use one to fight quickly to avoid long nights and dreams." "This is good." Mr. Fengzi pondered for a moment, and finally nodded, "Then just follow what Qinghai said, take action, now." After the words fell, Master Fengzi didn't hesitate at all and went straight to kill Su Yang. Su Gong followed closely behind, and his desire for the quasi-emperor's treasure made him spare no effort. Qinghai did the same, pretending to fight Su Yang desperately. "I bet you'll pull away this time." Su Yang glanced at Qinghai and thought to himself, then completely ignored Qinghai and controlled the key of the East Palace to press against Mr. Su, while he raised his fists to deal with Mr. Fengzi. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 783. Qinghai is a man with deep thoughts and hidden secrets, so he must have evil intentions. Su Yang had already noticed it before, so this time, he wanted to bet that Qinghai would not participate in the final battle between Master Fengzi and Master Su. This is the most beneficial for Qinghai, and it can even be regarded as a fisherman's profit. Because Qinghai knew that Su Yang was not a vegetarian and controlled two treasures. Although Su Yang can only control one treasure at the same time, if he is forced into a hurry, the ultimate destructive power of one treasure can cause serious damage to the three of him. Although Su Yang was killed in the end, he was seriously injured, which was not a good outcome. Since Qinghai has evil intentions, he will not miss this opportunity. As long as he does not participate, he will not be injured. And even if Mr. Fengzi and Mr. Su could kill Su Yang this time, they would be seriously injured. If he can't be killed, it doesn't matter. Su Yang will be seriously injured even if he doesn't die. In this way, Qinghai faced three seriously injured people, who were not qualified to be his opponents. It was with this in mind that Su Yang ignored Qinghai and only fought against Mr. Fengzi and Mr. Su. Actually, Su Yang can control the Void Tower and the key to the East Mansion at the same time, but doing so is very laborious. When he faced Bai Qi in Loxia Mountain, Su Yang did not control two treasures at the same time, but only used them in turns. Su Yang could judge that he could control the Void Tower and the key to the East Mansion at most once at the same time. And this time, it may not be possible to directly eliminate the three young masters of Fengzi. Therefore, Su Yang did not act rashly, but chose to be patient and only used the key of Dongfu to face the enemy. He is waiting for an opportunity. Now is a good time. At first, Su Yang was mainly wary of Qinghai, fearing that Qinghai would reveal a power that surpassed nascent soul, in which case he would definitely suffer a loss, and might even be lost here. But now it's better. Qinghai doesn't take action. Su Yang only needs to fight against Mr. Fengzi and Mr. Su. The difficulty has been reduced too much. Boom. At this moment, Su Yang came into contact with Master Fengzi, and their fists collided. In an instant, a terrifying battle aftermath rippled around. Haha, Su Yang, is this your strength? I admit that you are indeed not weak. I may not be your opponent on my own, but you will die today. Mr. Fengzi sneered. The fists and palms of the two were still competing, and no one could get away for a while. Young Master Fengzi, you are nothing more than that, Su Yang responded coldly. Haha, you are uttering arrogant words even when you are about to die. Mr. Su, Qinghai, kill him, Mr. Fengzi urged. Qinghai pretended to attack, but actually moved very slowly, as if he was preparing for a big move. However, Su Gong had gathered his strength and attacked Su Yang directly, with a terrifying aura exuding from his body. Key to the East Palace. Su Yang naturally noticed it and was already ready to deal with Su Gong. At this moment, he shouted low and the key to the East Palace was pressed down instantly. Haha, do you think I have no means? Seeing this, Su Gong raised a playful smile on his lips. He did not choose to avoid it, but stood there, as if waiting for the key to the East Palace. Boom. The next moment, without any surprise, the key to the East Palace hit Su Gong. In the blink of an eye, Su Gong's body exploded, and the scene was filled with blood mist. When young Master Fengzi saw this scene, he was not at all frightened. Instead, he raised the corner of his mouth with an arc. Buzz. At this moment, the blood mist that filled the sky was strangely reorganized at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just one breath, Su Gong's body returned to its original state, as if he had never been smashed apart by the key to the East Mansion. The words fell. Is it? Haha, no need. Su Gong's voice stopped suddenly, and then he spurted out a mouthful of blood, and his lower body was directly smashed into a mist of blood. The scene was very horrifying. Su Yang narrowed his eyes slightly and said expressionlessly, I can get it myself. Su Yang stared at Su Yang and sneered, now that I have come to your side, even if you use the key to the East Palace, Qinghai will stop you. Su Yang, suffer death. After the words fell, Su Gong didn't want to have long nights and dreams, so he took action directly, planning to kill Su Yang. Haha, he can't save you, and he can't even save himself. As Mr. Su said, at this moment, the key to the East Mansion suddenly changed its direction and no longer dealt with Qinghai, but suddenly hit Mr. Su. Su Yang raised his palm, and a terrifying force surged out, instantly searching Mr. Su's memory. As for Su Gong, he suffered a backlash, his body was bounced away, and his injuries were not serious at all. As the Void Tower descended, Master Fengzi had no choice but to retract his palm and retreat violently. After Su Gong reorganized his body, he smiled softly and said, once, a strong man who had transcended the Calamity Realm wanted to kill me and exploded my body. I used this method to escape the calamity. After all, my soul flew away and my body turned into blood mist. It was originally lifeless. Even the masters in the realm of transcending tribulations would never have imagined that I possess such a secret skill. Su Yang was not afraid at all, showed a confident smile, and whispered, "Void Tower. You can actually control two treasures at the same time." Su Gong was in severe pain. He looked at his lower body, his eyes filled with fear. Then he looked at Mr. Fengzi and said intermittently, Fengzi, save me. I can teach it to you, please, no. Don't kill me, Su Yang begged Su Yang for mercy with a trembling voice. My body will turn into blood mist, and my soul will also decompose into tens of thousands of parts, lifeless. If I don't want to reorganize, no one can really kill me. When young Master Fengzi saw that the battle had reached this stage, the smile on his lips became even brighter, as if he had already imagined the scene of Su Yang being wiped out. Along with a muffled sound, thousands of rays of light shook. Su Yang within the rays of light was injured and spurted out a mouthful of blood, but he was not seriously injured. Ha ha, Su Yang, you will definitely die now. Su Yang sneered and said, Shu Gong, right? I'm very interested in this secret technique of yours. When I came to Earth this time, I planned to use this to save my life in critical moments. In an instant, the Void Tower appeared above Su Yang's head, and at the same time, thousands of rays of light fell, completely covering Su Yang. However, Su Yang, in order to obtain the Quasi-Emperor's treasure, I don't care so much anymore. It's worth using my secret skills to attract you. Puff. What? Although Qinghai wanted to act, he still had to show off, so he took the initiative to block the key to the East Palace. Boom. Seeing this, Su Yang mobilized the key to the East Palace with a thought. Su Gong was shocked, and then gritted his teeth and said, Despicable, you have been pretending before, but even so, if I attack a few more times, you will definitely not be able to bear it. Buzz. My secret technique of blood mist reorganization can only be used once in half a year. Every time I use it, I need half a year to recuperate. As for Su Gong's decisive move, it was caught in the rays of light. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 784. Although Shu Gong was at a higher level than Su Yang and had even become a god, Su Yang could not extract the other party's memory under normal circumstances. But now, half of Su Gong's body is gone. He was injured by the key of the East Mansion and is dying. In addition, he has begged for mercy and is mentally weak. In this state, Su Yang could effortlessly deprive Su Yang of his memory. The blood mist is reorganized. This secret technique is indeed good. Su Yang just saw Mr. Su being beaten to death by the key of the East Palace with his own eyes, and he thought that the other party would definitely die. Under normal circumstances, if the body explodes, the opponent may not die. Su Yang will usually beat him to death. But just now, Su Gong's soul also scattered into countless parts, which is why Su Yang believed that Su Gong must die. But who would have thought that Su Gong would be resurrected in a strange way? Certainly. Su Yang was able to do this in his heyday, but the reorganization and resurrection under such circumstances would inevitably be very weak after resurrection. But after Shu Gong was resurrected, his combat power was still at its peak as if he had not been injured before. This is very strong. Therefore, Su Yang fell in love with this secret technique and decided to extract the memory of Su Gong. Good. It's very mysterious, haha. I didn't expect that this kind of secret technique would be controlled by a trash like Su Gong. Oh, it turns out that I had an adventure in the Xiantian immortal realm. Okay, now this secret technique belongs to me. Su Yang was extremely satisfied with the secret technique of blood mist reorganization. At the same time, he looked at the half-dead Su Gong and sneered, "Thank you, I'll give you a good time." After saying that, Su Yang showed no mercy and suddenly raised his hand. The next moment, Su Yang was completely dead. Just in case, Even Su Yang's soul was absorbed by Su Yang using the secret soul binding technique. Master Fengzi. After killing Lord Su, Su Yang's eyes fell on Lord Fengzi and said with a serious face, "Now, it's your turn." Su Yang. A flash of fear flashed in Mr. Fengzi's eyes, and he waited secretly. He felt that if he and Qinghai joined forces, they might not be able to get an advantage from Su Yang. After all, he now knows that Su Yang can control two treasures at the same time. But, even though he was panicking, Master Fengzi did not show it. Instead, he secretly sent a message with full confidence, "Qinghai, don't be afraid, he can't do anything to us. When we take action together, he will control two treasures to deal with us separately." Mr. Fengzi then sent a message, "In this way, we will not be in danger, so there is no need to panic. But in this case, we won't be able to defeat Su Yang. It will be detrimental to us if we continue to fight. So, why not do this? You can carry two treasures by yourself, and I will kill Su Yang." Mr. Fengzi said firmly, "Believe me, I hid my strength just now. As long as I attack with all my strength, Su Yang will definitely die. I can kill him in an instant." When Qinghai heard Master Fengzi's message, he did not respond, but showed a playful smile. Now that the matter has come to this, there is no need for him to pretend anymore. Because he noticed that it was more laborious for Su Yang to control two treasures at the same time. Even if there is no Master Fengzi, Qinghai can still kill Su Yang if he reveals his strength in the realm of gods. I can see that Su Yang likes to use the Void Tower for defense. If the Void Tower doesn't leave him, I'm afraid I won't be able to break through Wan Dao Xiaoguang. Mr. Fengzi did not receive a response from Qinghai and thought Qinghai agreed. After all, in his eyes, Qinghai was just a younger brother and would definitely obey his orders, so he continued, "I pretended to run away later, and Su Yang wanted to kill me. He will definitely be eager to use two treasures to attack me at the same time, trying to keep me. At this moment, you come over to block the two treasures, while I go to kill Su Yang. With lightning speed, he will definitely not be able to dodge. Even if he wants to mobilize the Void Tower for defense, it's already too late. If he doesn't die by then, who will?" Mr. Fengzi became more and more excited, and it seemed as if he was serious. "I'm starting, Qinghai, get ready." After the sound transmission ended, Master Fengzi moved instantly, jumped through the hidden barrier left by the Void Tower, and fled to the east. But, upon hearing these words, Qinghai's face suddenly became solemn. The other side. Clever. Master Fengzi was so happy when he found out that Su Yang didn't pursue them. He felt contempt for Su Yang and Qinghai, and ran away in a hurry without stopping. Su Yang smiled and said, "If Emperor Yanlong doesn't come, how can I kill him?" Qinghai sneered, "Don't talk about killing the flame dragon immortal emperor, he can make your soul fly away with just one look." Because, "Do you know everything?" At this time, Qinghai was the first to speak and asked lightly. "Of course it's Mr. Fengzi's role. Is there really someone on earth who can obliterate the Yanlong immortal emperor? He is really a big fool. If he chases after him, Qinghai will definitely not be able to stop the two treasures. Even if Qinghai delays for a moment, it will be useless. It is impossible for me to kill him instantly. I may not even be his opponent. If nothing happens, you will kill Master Fengzi when your spiritual energy recovers, and Yinjian Dragon Immortal Emperor will possess you. I don't know if I am right." Qinghai smiled softly and said, "You didn't chase Mr. Fengzi and let him leave. You must know something, right? Although the troops were lost this time, it didn't matter. As long as the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor came, Su Yang naturally had nothing to fear." Su Yang did not deny it, but instead smiled and said, "I not only know his role, but also your role. Now is not a good time. Even if Master Fengzi dies, immortal Emperor Yanlong will not possess him. In this case, Qinghai and I won't be able to leave, ha ha ha, what a pity, Su Yang is too timid. Judging from Su Yang's appearance, it doesn't look like he is lying. Moreover, Su Yang knew the role of young Master Fengzi, but yet he let young Master Fengzi go. He was so confident and calm. Could it be that what Su Yang said was true? Su Yang looked at Qinghai, his face as serious as water, and said, "You will die tonight, in my hands." Qinghai asked in confusion, "I can't figure it out. Do you want the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor to come to Earth?" Su Yang did not hide anything. "Although I can't kill the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, there are people on Earth who can do it. As long as the Yanlong Immortal Emperor dares to come, he will die." Su Yang didn't move, and Qinghai naturally didn't move either. Instead, he looked at Su Yang playfully with a smile on his face. Su Yang stood there, watching Master Fengzi leave, with no intention of chasing him. Su Yang and Qinghai stood face to face with their eyes facing each other. Neither of them made the first move. "Indeed. Why are you telling me this?" Qinghai stared at Su Yang and asked. He, Su Yang, this big fool, must have guessed my plan and doesn't dare to pursue me anymore. What a strong tone, Su Yang, you are just nascent soul. Do you know the gap between you and Yanlong Immortal Emperor? Su Yang met Qinghai's gaze and said, "What do you mean?" "Haha, Qinghai, you don't have to trick me, it doesn't hurt to tell you." "What?" The corner of Qinghai's mouth rose, and then he asked doubtfully, "Since you know, why don't you kill Master Fengzi now?" "Qinghai is also a fool. He will believe whatever I say. What is the use of such a person coming to the earth? I fooled him around. I sold him and he had to count the money for me, ha ha ha." Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 785. Now, Qinghai was the only one left at the scene. Su Yang was naturally confident as he controlled two treasures. If Qinghai is only in the early stage of becoming a god, Su Yang is absolutely sure that he can be killed. Certainly. If Qinghai is stronger, then Su Yang is not afraid. The worst he can do is not fight him and hand him over to Bai Qi to deal with. Although Su Yang did not notice Bai Qi's aura, he could conclude that Bai Qi must be observing everything around him. This matter was originally caused by Bai Qi, and he was the key figure in the recovery of spiritual energy. Bai Qi desperately wanted to successfully revive his spiritual energy, and he would definitely not put himself in danger. Su Yang knew that Bai Qi just felt that he had beaten him violently and made him lose face, so he lured the three young masters of Fengzi away. In Bai Qi's opinion, the three young masters of Fengzi can definitely beat him. In order to protect his own safety and promote the recovery of spiritual energy, Bai Qi is 100% nearby and ready to help at any time. Otherwise, if Su Yang dies, who else can activate the spiritual energy recovery? Bai Qi will not be unable to distinguish the importance. Su Yang possesses the Void Tower and the key to the East Mansion. Even when facing the peak of divine transformation, he still has the power to escape. As for Qinghai's strength, although Su Yang couldn't clearly see it before there was a real fight, it would definitely not exceed Huashan, so Su Yang was confident. "You think you can kill me?" At this moment, after hearing Su Yang's words, Qinghai raised a playful smile. "Since you know, Immortal Emperor Yanlong arranged for me to come to Earth in order to kill Master Fengzi at the critical moment. Then you should be able to imagine that my realm is not just nascent soul. I must be much stronger than Mr. Fengzi in his prime state to be able to kill him in an instant." Qinghai continued, "You must know the strength of Mr. Fengzi. He once controlled the purple gold hammer, which was astonishingly powerful. Su Yang, can you guess where I am now?" Su Yang said disdainfully, "God transformation, why do you need to guess?" "In that case, how dare you say such arrogant words?" Qinghai sneered. Wouldn't you know if you are arrogant or not if you try it? Su Yang raised his eyebrows. He. Chiang Hai said coldly, Su Yang, you are really fearless if you don't know. It is no exaggeration to say that even if you have 2 treasures, I will kill you without any effort. After all, in the face of absolute strength, any treasure is nonsense. Chiang Hai stared at Su Yang and said with a serious face, but, Su Yang, before you die, can you tell me what your relationship is with the immortal Emperor Xiantian? I am the Xiantian immortal Emperor, Su Yang responded lightly. Descendants of the Su family. Xiantian immortal Emperor. Chiang Hai reacted instantly and murmured to himself, I see, that's it? No wonder Emperor Yanlong insists on killing you, it turns out you are that powerful man. Chiang Hai smiled and said, Xiantian immortal Emperor, I know why you reincarnated. It's just that you lost a bet, but you still care about the earth, so you want to use a new identity to stir up troubles on the earth and prevent my master from dominating this planet. It's just a pity, immortal Emperor Xiantian, you have lived your whole life, and when you were at your peak, even my master was not absolutely sure to overwhelm you. But you did such a stupid thing for the sake of the earth. It would be fine if you were reincarnated, but you chose reincarnation. Ha ha ha, stupid, stupid. Chiang Hai sneered, you don't need my master to take action now. I can kill you by myself. What can you do to protect this planet? Su Yang said impatiently, Chiang Hai, are you done? You can start now. Ha ha, crazy. Chiang Hai sneered again, and then said in a deep voice, since you insist on seeking death, then I will kill you and extract your memory. If I get your cultivation method, plus the 2 treasures of the Void Tower and the key to the East Mansion, I will quickly reach the top of the earth after the spiritual energy is revived. By then, who will the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor be? Oh! Su Yang heard this and smiled playfully, if you want to betray the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, aren't you afraid that he will come to earth? Also, if you call him master, you must have signed a soul contract, so how can you dare to betray the Yanlong Immortal Emperor? Haha, you have too many questions. I don't want to answer you about this matter. Chiang Hai said cryptically, however, what I can be sure of is that as long as the method is correct, the Yanlong Immortal Emperor will not appear for a long time in the future. As for the soul contract, haha, this thing is indeed troublesome, but as long as the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor never comes out, the soul contract is better than nothing. When I reach a certain level of strength and enter a realm above the Imperial realm, what can the soul contract do to me? Chiang Hai said ambitiously. Above the Imperial realm. Su Yang smiled softly and said, how dare you think that for tens of thousands of years, there has never been a master of this level in the vast universe. It is simply ridiculous that you, a little transformed god, would have such an idea. What do you know? Immortal Emperor Yanlong's layout on Earth is just for that realm. Chiang Hai sneered and said, if my plan succeeds, Immortal Emperor Yanlong will never be able to set foot on the Earth in all his lifetimes, so I can steal his achievements, ha ha ha. Okay, Su Yang, I've told you enough. Now, you can die. You will be the starting point for me to embark on the road to invincibility. As soon as the words fell, Chiang Hai no longer hid, and the terrifying coercion of the God transformation realm swept the entire audience instantly. The early stage of becoming a god. The middle stage of becoming a god. Late stage of divine transformation. Transformation into God, the pinnacle. This Chiang Hai has really reached the peak of divine transformation. There is no doubt that he is the most powerful existence among the 10 people who have come to Earth. For so long, Chiang Hai has been pretending to be at the peak of nascent soul, and Mr. Fengzi takes the lead in everything. He is completely transparent. But who would have thought that he would actually reach the peak of divine transformation, a level higher than Mr. Fengzi? Feeling Chiang Hai's aura, Su Yang frowned slightly surprised. But He didn't panic and retreated if he couldn't defeat him. Anyway, there were awesome people to deal with the aftermath for him. At this time, Qiang Hai didn't waste any time and charged directly towards Su Yang, using his strongest blow. He obviously didn't want to cause trouble and planned to kill him with one strike. Let me give it a try to see how powerful the attack at the peak of transformation is. Su Yang did not withdraw immediately, but mobilized the Void Tower to defend. Buzz. In an instant, the Void Tower appeared above Su Yang's head, and thousands of rays of light fell down, seemingly impervious to all forces. At the same time, Su Yang made a thought and controlled the key of the East Palace to hit Qiang Hai. Boom! However, the next moment, the key to the East Palace was slapped away by Qiang Hai, which had no effect at all. Despite this, the key to the East Palace showed no signs of damage, it was just knocked away. After all, this is the imperial weapon of the ancestral dragon. Although it is not the pinnacle treasure now, it is not something that a small transformed god can destroy. Su Yang, damn it, even the Void Tower can't save you. At the same time, Qiang Hai's power continued unabated, approaching Su Yang with murderous intent in his eyes. Boom! In the blink of an eye, Qiang Hai's palm hit the rays of light. For a moment, a terrifying battle aftermath rippled around. The Void Tower trembled, and thousands of rays of light shone brightly at first, but soon dimmed. Su Yang in the Void Tower was vomiting blood and his face was pale. He was obviously injured by the shock, and the injury was not serious. Su Yang was also injured when Su Gong bombarded the Void Tower before, but that time, Su Yang's injuries were very light, almost negligible. And that time Su Yang didn't use all his strength to defend, but this time it was different. Su Yang activated the blood sacrifice, forcibly activated the Void Tower, and used his strongest defense, but was still seriously injured by Qiang Hai's move. He didn't kill you. Qiang Hai was quite surprised, but he turned around and sneered, he, it doesn't matter, you will definitely die with the next palm. With that said, Qiang Hai raised his hand again, intending to kill Su Yang in one fell swoop. Seeing this, Su Yang realized that he could no longer carry it, so with a thought, he threw away the Void Tower and the key to the East Palace to stop Qiang Hai. As for himself, he used close to the end, retreated violently, and left the hot pot restaurant in an instant. At the same time, under the influence of the Void Tower, the hot pot restaurant that entered the dimensional space reappeared in the real world. Hot pot restaurant, damn, the hot pot restaurant appeared out of thin air again. What a ghost at night. I just said there is a hot pot restaurant here. I was not wrong, but what happened just now? Why did the hot pot restaurant disappear? Damn, there's a figure flying out of the hot pot restaurant, look, it's flying up into the sky. Not just one person, but another person. Wait, what are those two? A tower? A key? The passers-by around stopped to watch and talked about it. At the same time, Su Yang mobilized the remaining spiritual energy in his body and flew in mid-air. Qiang Hai naturally caught up with him, but he was entangled by the Void Tower and the key to the East Mansion, so his speed was slower, otherwise he would have caught up with Su Yang long ago. But even so, the distance between Qiang Hai and Su Yang is gradually getting closer. If things continue like this, if nothing happens, Su Yang will be unable to escape within half a minute. Su Yang, just run away if you can't beat him. You are not claiming the title of Xiantian Immortal Emperor in vain, haha. I'm actually chasing down Immortal Emperor Xiantian. I get excited just thinking about it. This is the pinnacle of my first half of life. As Qiang Hai chased after him, he sneered, however, you are just doing this in vain. You will definitely not be able to escape from the palm of my hand. Su Yang didn't care so much and kept running away. At the same time, he contacted Bai Qi and urged Bai Qi to come out quickly. Behind the two of them, Bai Qi, in a suit and leather suit, was also flying through the clouds. Compared to the atmosphere of Su Yang and Qinghai chasing each other against each other, Bai Qi was much more relaxed, like strolling in a garden. Haha, Su Yang, you are still here today, running away in embarrassment after being chased, so comfortable, so comfortable. Bai Qi secretly smiled and said, let you feel the joy of being chased more. This is your own fault. Let's see if you dare to be arrogant in the future. Huh? No, why is Su Yang calling me? Could it be that he knows this is my plan? Suddenly, Bai Qi seemed to have thought of something, but then he said, so what if he knows, I am so strong, how can I be afraid of him? As for the future, although he is extremely talented, I am not a vegetarian. After the spiritual energy is revived, maybe I will be invincible. Besides, I have Xiaolong as my backer. No matter how strong Su Yang is, it's useless. He will definitely not surpass Xiaolong. He can't even think of bullying me. Bai Qi thought about it for a long time and felt that even if he offended Su Yang, it would be fine in the future. So, in that case, why should I run away again and just stand there waiting to die, forcing him to take action as soon as possible? Su Yang's abnormal behavior made Qinghai very afraid. Qinghai was surprised. He took a closer look and found that there was an extra person at the scene. He immediately asked in horror, "You, who are you and when did you come?" Seeing this, Qinghai also stopped, stared at Su Yang warily, frowned and said, "Su Yang, what are you doing? What else could I do?" Thinking of this, Su Yang stopped decisively, turned around and looked at Qinghai with a smile. Qinghai was still in a daze, so he didn't take it into consideration and decided to kill Su Yang. Something's wrong. Bai Qi didn't rush to take action, but followed slowly, waiting to see Su Yang's joke. What? Although he saw through it, Bai Qi had to take action. Damn it, Su Yang, you are so cruel, you win. Damn it, Bai Qi, you are a real dog. If you still refuse to come out, aren't you afraid that if I die, no one will be able to control the spiritual energy recovery? You're bound to die sooner or later anyway, so why not save some energy and just kill me? Su Yang cursed secretly, feeling very anxious, but then he thought of a way to solve it. Go Baiki will definitely not let me die. He will definitely be hiding in the dark and watching my jokes right now. Su Yang didn't resist. He stood there without even mobilizing his spiritual energy. He was already planning to lie down. Boom. In this way, Su Yang ran for more than 10 thrilling seconds, and he almost collapsed. Bai Qi gritted his teeth, cursed, and finally chose to take action, blocking Su Yang directly. Fuck. But Su Yang's temptation is too great, the Void Tower, the key to the East Mansion, the memory skills and secrets of Emperor Xiantian. After all, why did Su Yang stop and take back the Void Tower and the key to the East Mansion? This is so wrong. At the same time, he even took the Void Tower and the key to the East Palace into his body, and stood calmly like this. Snored. With Qinghai's cautious nature, he would definitely leave when encountering such a situation and would never take risks. This is also the main reason why he can live outside the territory for so long. Bai Qi, who was hiding in the dark, saw this scene, and his face suddenly darkened. Su Yang spread his hands and said helplessly, "Brother Qinghai, you are so strong, I can't beat you, and you are about to catch up." Qinghai was a little worried. He looked around and after making sure there was no one around, he said coldly, "You are pretending to be a ghost. How can I be fooled? I will die." Of course, if Su Yang was really about to die, he would never stand idly by. After all, Su Yang was the key figure in the revival of spiritual energy. He naturally saw Su Yang's intention and planned to force him to take action at the risk of death. Actually, Chiang Hai's palm hit Bai Chi hard, and the spiritual energy raged throughout the audience, but it did not cause any harm to Bai Chi. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 786. Chiang Hai panicked. He was afraid that Su Yang was trapping him, so he always paid attention to his surroundings, but he didn't expect that someone could appear in front of him silently. He is already at the peak of becoming a god. What kind of strength does this person have that is so terrifying? Besides, I used all my strength with this palm. Even a cultivator in the early stage of transcending the tribulation would not be able to resist without any damage. Is it possible that this person who suddenly appeared has a realm that surpasses that of a god, or even surpasses the early stage of transcending tribulation? Thinking of this, Chiang Hai was frightened, and the fear in his eyes could not be concealed. I am always here. Bai Chi said in a calm tone, as for my name, haha, garbage from outside the territory is not qualified to know. As he spoke, Bai Chi stood with his hands behind his back. He looked like an ordinary urban white-collar worker in a suit and leather shoes, and all his aura was hidden. Chiang Hai's eyes were complicated, and he had already wanted to retreat in his heart, but he understood that he could not escape from the hands of the person in front of him. Then, he did not run away, but said, "Senior, I admit defeat today, can you give me a chance to survive? You came to Jiangbei this time for the purpose of spiritual energy recovery. As a strong person on earth, you must hope that the spiritual energy recovery will be successful." Chiang Hai did not dare to face Bai Chi, lowered his head and continued, "As long as you are willing to let me go, I will tell you everything I know." "No need, I'm not interested in those." Bai Chi said coldly, "I must know more than you about spiritual energy recovery." "No." Chiang Hai said hurriedly, "The biggest variable in the recovery of spiritual energy is Emperor Yanlong. I am his most trusted subordinate. I know many of his secrets. He has made a big move. If he succeeds, the earth will definitely not be able to enter the era of spiritual energy recovery." Chiang Hai gritted his teeth and said, "Senior, you have to believe me, I can swear on my soul that what I say is true." "A big game of chess." Bai Chi frowned, then shook his head and smiled, "Haha, this is not enough reason for me not to kill you. I can completely seize your memory, and I will naturally know everything." With that said, Bai Chi started to take action. "Senior." Seeing this, Chiang Hai took a step back and said quickly, "Although I am not your opponent, and I am even far different in strength from you, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor has already arranged a barrier for my soul. Once someone tries to forcibly extract my memory, my soul will collapse in an instant. By then, you don't even want to know the secret of Emperor Yanlong." Chiang Hai gritted his teeth and said, "If you don't believe it, you can give it a try. I just hope that Senior will not regret it." "Oh." Bai Chi frowned slightly, and then said dissatisfied, "Are you threatening me? I hate threats from others the most. Your life is optional to me." Bai Chi said coldly, "When you didn't threaten me, maybe I would consider sparing you, but now, you must die, because no one can threaten me." As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Chi was about to take action. But at this time, Su Yang said, "Senior Bai Chi, don't be impulsive. It doesn't hurt to listen to what he has to say. From the look of Chiang Hai, it doesn't look like he's just talking. Could it be that Emperor Yanlong has other plans?" Bai Chi glanced at Su Yang, and after thinking for a while, he finally nodded and gave Su Yang this face. "Say it." Bai Chi said calmly, "I always keep my promises. If you really tell the secret that I don't know, I can spare your life. But if you just talk nonsense in order to survive, then don't blame me for being rude," Bai Chi said solemnly. "Thank you, Senior." I can guarantee that the secret I mentioned is of great significance to you. Chiang Hai clasped his fists in flattery and secretly breathed a sigh of relief, then said, Immortal Emperor Yanlong has been thinking about the earth for more than 100 or 200 years. Thousands of years ago, he wanted to take the earth as his own and find a breakthrough to the emperor. Opportunities beyond the environment. In order to achieve this goal, he worked hard and spent a lot of effort, but the cultivators on the earth rose up to resist, and a large number of people on the earth sacrificed their lives for righteousness and devoted themselves to the natural guardian formation of the earth to strengthen the power of the formation, so that immortal Emperor Yanlong has been restricted and has never been able to come to earth in his strongest state. About 2000 years ago, immortal Emperor Yanlong came to the earth once, holding the gate of time and space, and his realm was suppressed to the peak of quasi-emperor. Chiang Hai said eloquently, that time, he was already invincible to the earth. No one on this large earth is his opponent, because the earth does not have an emperor realm, and the strongest one is only a quasi-emperor. There were once a dozen quasi-emperors of the earth who joined forces to fight against the flame dragon immortal emperor. The Yanlong immortal emperor was a little overwhelmed. At the same level, he could defeat 1, 2, or 3. However, the opponent had more than a dozen quasi-emperors at the peak of their abilities. Soon the Yanlong immortal emperor was defeated. Come down. Chiang Hai continued, however, the Yanlong immortal emperor controls the gate of time and space. If you can't defeat it, you can escape. Those quasi-emperors cannot gather together all the time. If things go on like this, the Yanlong immortal emperor will definitely find opportunities and defeat them one by one. But the Yanlong immortal emperor is short of time most and is unwilling to waste it like this. The quasi-emperor of the earth seems to have some scruples, so the two sides will start negotiations. Chiang Hai continued, the final result of the negotiation was that immortal Emperor Yanlong used the gate of time and space to send more than a dozen quasi-emperors on earth to reach the peak of their powers and go outside the territory. At that time, the outside world was full of temptations for cultivators on the earth. It was also the earth's fault at that time that the spiritual energy was gradually declining. If those quasi-imperial peaks on earth continue to stay on earth, it will be difficult for them to have a chance to break through to the imperial realm. Chiang Hai said, in order to pursue a higher realm, the quasi-emperor of the earth agreed to go outside the territory, but the two parties agreed that after they left, the Yanlong immortal emperor would not attack other cultivators on the earth, and they made an oath to each other. Therefore, those quasi-emperors who joined forces on earth and could stop the flame dragon immortal emperor disappeared and went outside the territory together. Hearing this, Su Yang probably understood. No wonder Jing Ke was very surprised when he heard that Emperor Yanlong was wreaking havoc on the earth. It turned out that the earth was really powerful. At first, Su Yang was curious, since there are so many quasi-emperors on earth, why they couldn't stop a suppressed Yanlong immortal emperor, but now everything is clear. Those powerful men at the pinnacle of quasi-emperor fell into the trap of the flame dragon immortal emperor and were deceived. Of course I know what you are talking about, because I am one of those dozen quasi-emperors. Bai Qi heard this and said in a deep voice, I was the first to stand up against going outside the territory. Unfortunately, those two old guys Zhang Yi and Su Qin were dazzled by the promotion to the imperial realm. No matter how I tried to persuade them, they refused. Listen, I insist on going outside the territory to look for opportunities. Apart from me, only senior brother Shang Yang agreed with me, so the two of us separated from those two old guys. Bai Qi said coldly, originally, according to the agreement, after the earth quasi-emperor leaves, the Yanlong immortal emperor cannot wreak havoc on the earth, and must not massacre the earth's powerful people for no reason. But the flame dragon immortal emperor is not a good thing. Due to the soul oath, he did not kill anyone, but he used the gate of time and space to send almost all of the earth's gods, tribulations, and quasi-emperors to death through coercion and inducement. Arrived outside the territory. Bai Qi continued, Perhaps the door to time and space has been opened too many times, and the Earth suddenly has an ancient road in the starry sky, and the end is outside the territory. In this way, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor saves a lot of trouble and forces cultivators above the Earth Foundation to enter the ancient road of the starry sky within a certain period of time, otherwise they will be killed without mercy. Bai Chi said coldly, he is suppressed by the contract and cannot do it himself, but he has subdued many minions to do things for him, causing the Earth to be unstable. Later, in order to completely control the Earth, Immortal Emperor Yanlong joined two other immortal emperors and changed the laws of the Earth, causing the Earth to become ominous. Any cultivator on Earth is not allowed to enter the realm of elixir formation, otherwise he will be contaminated with bad luck and will be miserable. Bai Chi said with a sinister look, as soon as this law comes out, it will end the Earth's inheritance of cultivation. We, the few surviving quasi-emperors at the peak, wanted to stop it, but unfortunately it was too late. The Yanlong Immortal Emperor is too powerful. Even if we join forces, we are no match for him. However, if there is really a head-on confrontation, Immortal Emperor Yanlong will not have an easy time, and there is a high probability that both jade and stone will be destroyed. Bai Chi gritted his teeth and said, at that time, Master summoned all the surviving quasi-emperors to discuss countermeasures together. My proposal was that we should all die together and exchange our lives for the peace of the Earth. All Master's disciples are bloody. Almost unanimously, the vote was passed, but Master stopped him. Bai Chi recalled, Master said that even if the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor dies, there will be other strong people from outside the world on the Earth. By then, the Earth will no longer have anything to rely on. If you think about it carefully, it is indeed the case, so the plan to perish together has been shelved. The Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor naturally knew about our existence, so he searched everywhere, but we deliberately hid it and he couldn't find us either. Bai Chi sneered. Later, Immortal Emperor Yanlong got into trouble, and you know this Su Yang. The blood demon returned from outside the territory and used his supreme secret technique to severely injure the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor. Of course Immortal Emperor Yanlong didn't dare to stay on Earth any longer, so he chose to leave and return to the outside world. Since then, the Earth's protective formation has been strengthened. It is estimated that even after the Yanlong Immortal Emperor recovers from his serious injury, he will not be able to set foot on the Earth again. Bai Chi added, even if he is suppressed to the quasi-emperor level, he will not be able to come to the Earth. With that said, Bai Chi looked at Chiang Hai and said coldly, if that's all you have to say, it's useless, you still have to die. Wait a minute. Chiang Hai said hurriedly, of course it's more than that. Seniors don't know. Immortal Emperor Yanlong has been on the Earth for at least hundreds of thousands of years. He has traveled through various forbidden places on the Earth and arranged many backups. The most important thing is that he knows the time and place when the spiritual energy is revived, and he can allow himself to come to the Earth when the spiritual energy is revived. Oh, Bai Chi frowned and said, in what realm will he come? At least the quasi-emperor peak, maybe even the true emperor realm, Chiang Hai replied. Senior Bai Chi, there is no need to ask further questions. I know something about this matter. Su Yang told Bai Chi the role of Master Fengzi and Chiang Hai through soul transmission. I see, rebirth through reincarnation is interesting. It seems that Yanlong Immortal Emperor is really going to fight this time. Bai Chi sneered and said, after doing this, the Yanlong Immortal Emperor is equivalent to completely abandoning his imperial body and completely cutting off his escape route. No. Hearing this, Chiang Hai said, the layout of Immortal Emperor Yanlong is not that simple. He plans to, Chiang Hai was about to tell everything he knew, but at this moment, his soul suddenly burst and blood flowed from all his orifices in an instant. Me. Before he finished speaking, Chiang Hai fell straight down and died. Su Yang, with quick eyes and quick hands, caught Chiang Hai's body. After carefully examining it, he shook his head and said, it's hopeless. The barrier left by immortal Emperor Yanlong in his mind not only prevents outsiders from prying into his memory, but also prevents outsiders from prying into his memory. Even he himself cannot say a word, otherwise it will trigger a taboo and he will definitely die. From this point of view, this secret is very important. Does the flame dragon immortal emperor really have other means? Bai Chi's face looked a little ugly, and he looked worried. If Bai Chi can really come to the earth in the imperial state, how will the spiritual energy be revived? Immortal Emperor Yanlong had done so much in order to suppress the cultivators on earth, so he would not allow the spiritual energy recovery to succeed. Don't worry so much, our earth is not without strong people. Su Yang said confidently, even if immortal Emperor Yanlong comes to the earth as an emperor, he won't be able to make any waves. Believe me, the earth also has many plans that will not let him succeed. The reason why Su Yang said this was not only because of Jing Kei's support, but also for other reasons. He finally figured it out. Both Bai Chi's master, Xiaolong, and his former self could stop the flame dragon immortal emperor openly and honestly. But Zilong and Xiantian immortal emperor did not do that. No matter what they are planning, one flame dragon immortal emperor is not enough to shake the earth. Bai Chi also thought of this, his face became slightly better, and he turned to say, Su Yang, that Fengzi young master escaped just now. You must have let him go on purpose. You wanted to attract the Yanlong immortal emperor, and then let Jing Kei deal with him. I have this plan. Su Yang did not hide anything and smiled softly. Jing Kei is imprisoned at the foot of Jufeng Mountain and is not in a good condition. If nothing happens, he will surely enter the demonic nature sooner or later. By then, the earth will be devastated. Instead of doing this, it would be better for him to have a chance encounter with the flame dragon immortal emperor. Su Yang continued, if he can die together with Emperor Yanlong, it will be considered a good thing for the earth. If he can kill the flame dragon immortal emperor, that's okay. At least one problem has been solved. As for himself, he will probably be seriously injured and should be easier to deal with. Then I'll have to trouble Senior Bai Chi to control him. Of course, if he is killed by the flame dragon immortal emperor, it will be his fate. Anyway, if he stays in Jufeng Mountain, he is a time bomb. Detonating it early is not a bad thing for the earth, Su Yang said bluntly. Bai Chi pondered for a moment, and finally nodded and said, that's all for tonight. I'll go to the cave in Dongshan to find out. I'll let you know if there's any news. After leaving a word, Bai Chi's figure disappeared. As for Su Yang, he took away Chiang Hai's body. He had a lot of good things on him. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 787. Some time ago, a total of 10 foreign masters came to Earth, among which Chiang Hai was the strongest. Certainly. This is related to the treasure given to him by Emperor Yanlong, so that he can maintain the peak state of becoming a god. It can be said that Chiang Hai is the person Yanlong immortal emperor trusts most, otherwise he would never tell him the role of Master Fengzi, let alone let him do the most critical step. Chi Hongyu is the daughter of immortal Emperor Yanlong, so it is not surprising to know this. However, as a subordinate, Chiang Hai knows this, which is enough to prove how much immortal Emperor Yanlong values him. In this case, there must be a lot of good things in the Chiang Hai storage ring. Thinking of this, Su Yang immediately found Chiang Hai's storage ring, and after a lot of effort, he forcibly broke the mark on the storage ring. As expected, there were mountains of elixirs and spiritual stones in the ring, as well as some secret treasures. Things like secret techniques have little meaning to Su Yang, and treasures are of little use, but they can be given to friends and subordinates. As for the elixirs and spirit stones, they are very nice and completely suitable for Su Yang to use now. Especially the pile of spiritual stones, many of which were high-grade spiritual stones, was a timely help. With these spiritual stones and elixirs, it would not be difficult for Su Yang to advance to become a god. Qing Hai, thank you very much. Don't worry. I will take your place and complete the tasks assigned to you by immortal Emperor Yanlong. A playful smile appeared on Su Yang's lips, and then with a wave of his hand, Qing Hai's body suddenly turned into blood mist and dissipated in the air. Immediately afterwards, Su Yang thought of the hot pot restaurant guests who were taken into the Void Tower. With a thought, he erased a memory of these guests and put them back into the hot pot restaurant. Soon, the hot pot restaurant returned to its previous bustle, and these people had no memory of what had just happened. However, in the hot pot restaurant, Su Yang's table of guests was missing, and the tables in the hall were empty. Bah, what an unlucky thing. I met a man and two women who were eating the king's meal and looked like they were dressed like dogs, but they didn't do anything. I'm so angry. No, I'm going to put their photos on the door of the store to embarrass them. The owner of the hot pot restaurant found that Su Yang and the others were missing, and cursed when he went to check the surveillance camera, only to find that the surveillance camera had broken down at some point. At this moment, Su family manner. Su Yang returned to the room and immediately sat cross-legged and performed the 9 nether prison suppressing technique. In the previous battle, he consumed too much, and the spiritual energy in his body was almost exhausted. Not only that, Su Yang also suffered serious injuries. Nowadays, the earth is in danger, and this state makes him feel very insecure. Therefore, Su Yang began to heal Li Feixuan and Zhang Qingshui without even releasing the Void Tower. During this period, he killed several foreign masters and collected a large number of spiritual stones and elixirs. Coupled with the 9 nether prison suppression technique, the healing speed was greatly improved. About half an hour later, the spiritual energy in Su Yang's body returned to its peak, and countless pieces of spiritual energy turned into ashes. However, because the injury was too serious, it will take time to slowly repair. About an hour later, Su Yang refined more than a dozen healing elixirs, and his injuries were almost completely recovered, with basically no impact at all. Su Yang previously used the secret technique of blood sacrifice. This secret technique is very powerful. The stronger the strength, the stronger the effect after use. Su Yang used it in the early stage of Yuanying, and after activating the blood sacrifice, it was equivalent to the late stage of Yuanying. It stands to reason that Su Yang will be weak for a while, but fortunately, the elixir in his storage ring is about replenishing qi and blood, so it is harmless. Finally recovered. At this time, Su Yang opened his eyes, breathed a long sigh of relief, and showed a smile. His sense of security has always been given by himself. When he was in the Xiantian immortal domain, Su Yang would always put himself in peak condition. If he is injured, he will hide in seclusion and will not go out until he recovers. After recovering, Su Yang thought of Li Feixuan and Zhang Qingshui, and with the thought, he released them. Su Yang. Young Master Su. After the two of them saw Su Yang, they were all nervous. Among them, Li Feixuan asked with concern, "Are you not injured?" "I'm fine." Su Yang smiled and shook his head, and then said, "Wife, when did I lie to you? Those people can't hurt me." The reason why Su Yang treated the injury first was not only because he felt insecure, but also because he didn't want his wife to worry. "It's really okay, that's great." Li Fei escaped from there. "Escape?" Su Yang smiled softly and said, "Why should I run away? Those people were running to death. They were all scared to death by me." "What?" Hearing this, Li Feixuan was immediately overjoyed, but then she felt a little ashamed and murmured to herself, "So you are so powerful, then when I was in front of you." Li Feixuan felt extremely embarrassed when she thought of her complacent look. "Su Yang can even deal with those 3 people, but I don't even have the courage to face them. It's so ridiculous. I actually show off my martial arts realm in front of Su Yang, it's embarrassing. Su Yang's mind was sharp and he naturally noticed his wife's emotional changes. He thought it would be better to make her happy now and confess to her slowly in the future. Then, Su Yang smiled and said, "Okay, honey, I won't pretend anymore, I'll show my cards. Actually, I didn't solve those three guys. My strength is not enough. They can knock me down with just one finger." Su Yang continued, "After you entered the Void Tower, a powerful and awesome person appeared. He is a strong man on Earth. He waved his hand and eliminated those three guys. So that's it?" Li Feixuan reacted instantly and curled her lips and said, "Let me just say, you are just a Tianzong. How can you beat someone who I, the martial lord, can't deal with?" "What?" Su Yang said in shock, "I was so nervous at the hot pot restaurant before that I didn't react for a while, but now I have come to my senses. Wife, it turns out you are Wuzun." Seeing Su Yang's expression, Li Feixuan was very satisfied and nodded arrogantly, "How about it, Su Yang, am I good? It's amazing. You deserve to be my wife, Wuzun. You are actually Wuzun. You are so amazing." Su Yang entered the younger brother's state for a second and said with admiration, "By the way, you are still the little fairy from Jiangbei, hoeing the strong and supporting the weak, which is so admirable." "Ha ha." Li Feixuan smiled proudly and said, "It's just average. In fact, I still have a lot of room for improvement. I feel like I'm about to enter the martial sainthood. Su Yang, it doesn't matter if you are weaker. I won't dislike you." Li Feixuan said confidently, "When I step into the realm of the martial saint, I will have nothing to be afraid of when I meet those people before me. As long as I protect you, no one can hurt you." "That's great, wife. It's my blessing to meet you in this life," Su Yang said with a flattering smile. "Ha ha." Li Feixuan was silly and happy, as if she had thought of Su Yang hiding behind her, seeking her protection. Zhang Qingshui next to him saw the scene with a look of envy in his eyes. Su Yang is really a good man. Although he is very strong, he still considers his wife's high feelings and acts with her to make her happy. There are very few men in the world who are powerful and doting on their wives. I'm afraid it's hard to find even a lantern. Correct. After feeling proud, Li Feixuan suddenly thought of a question and asked curiously, "Su Yang, you said a very powerful Earth Master came just now. Who is he? Have I seen him? I should have seen him before. He has been to a hot pot restaurant before. He is a middle-aged man in a suit and leather shoes. I don't know if you have any impression," Su Yang said half-truthfully. "Suits and ties." Li Feixuan paused for a moment, and then said, "I do have an impression. It's really rare for someone to come to eat hot pot dressed up in such a hot day. I thought he had a trick in his head. By the way, aren't you that one? Is it time to go to the toilet?" Su Yang nodded and said, "Yes, it's him, but I didn't go to the toilet. He asked me out." "Huh? What is he looking for you for? Is he interested in your talent and wants to accept you as his disciple?" Li Feixuan said doubtfully, "That's not right. Of the three of us, I am obviously the most talented. If he wants to recruit a disciple, he should call me out." "Why would he call you?" "Wife, you are a bit too confident." Su Yang had a dark look on his face, but on the surface he made a serious guess. "Maybe he felt that your talent was too strong and he was not worthy of being your apprentice, so he called me out alone." "I see. What you said makes sense. Maybe it's true." Li Feixuan's little face showed a touch of happiness. She sighed, and said depressedly, "Hey, I have deeply realized that sometimes being too talented is not a good thing. Damn it. Wife, do you really want to do this? Su Yang, have you agreed to be his apprentice?" At this moment, Li Feixuan asked. "No." Su Yang shook his head and said, "I definitely wouldn't agree so easily. It's too easy to get, and he won't cherish it. So I refused, deliberately hanging him, so that he wouldn't get what he asked for, and he would cherish me even more. Keek, well done, Su Yang, you are so smart. Li Feixuan said with a smile, no wonder you were so confident just now and dared to face those three people alone. It turns out that you knew that there was a master observing you. Yes. Su Yang said, that guy is quite powerful, he easily took care of those three things. I was afraid of attracting onlookers, so I hurried back to the Su family manor afterwards. Well, where is he now? Where has he gone? Li Feixuan asked. I don't know, I guess he's going to do something big. After all, such a powerful master can't just protect me, Su Yang said casually. That's right, but Su Yang, don't force yourself. If you don't want to become a disciple, then don't become one. Li Feixuan said confidently, in the worst case, I will protect you from now on and I will teach you how to practice. You can just call my wife master. For some reason, Li Feixuan especially hoped that Su Yang would be a novice. Thinking about why he could protect Su Yang from the wind and rain, she felt very happy. Okay, wife, I'll hang out with you from now on, Su Yang said with a smile. Zhang Qingshui actually wanted to say, you and I are about the same strength. If we were to fight, you would definitely not be able to beat me. After all, you have no fighting experience. My wife's smug and arrogant look is a little cuter than before. Is it really so satisfying to have a higher level of cultivation than others? Li Feixuan was very satisfied, then her eyes fell on Su Yang and asked, by the way, Su Yang, what was that weapon you just made? It was so powerful. It could hold a living person inside, and the energy inside was so pure. Better than outside. I understand, honey, don't worry, I will practice hard and I won't let you down. Su Yang quickly agreed, feeling funny in his heart. After setting foot in Guo, Li Feixuan naturally heard of Su Wuji's name, and turned to curl her lips and said, Su Yang, your great-grandfather is so powerful, but you are so rubbish. This won't work. You have to work harder. Hearing this, Li Kekai and Zhou Yutong fell into silence, their faces darkening. Su Yang and Zhang Qingshui followed closely behind. You're talking about the Void Tower. Yes, my wife is right. Zhang Qingshui did not say these words, but cooperated with Su Yang's acting and said with a smile, okay, Fei Xian, you will protect me from now on. Kekai is here. She is outside and will enter the manor soon. Su Yang naturally noticed it, but pretended not to know, and asked doubtfully, Kekai. Where is it? Why didn't I see it? Of course you can't see it, she hasn't come in yet, but I'm very powerful and can sense it. I feel that if I practice there, I can become a martial saint in a few days. Li Kekai greeted everyone one by one, and then said, Tong Tong came to Jiangbei today, and she didn't have a place to stay yet. She originally wanted to stay in a hotel, but I don't think it's necessary. Anyway, the Su family manor is idle, so I will take her coming. Good wife Su Yang listened to the instruction. But, sister, brother-in-law, sister Gag, have you two chatted enough? Am I just empty air? No one has paid attention to me for a long time. At this moment, Zhang Qingshui complained with a dark face. That's it, that's awesome. Su Yang said seriously, from now on, I will practice 30 hours a day and try to catch up with you as soon as possible. Soon, the three of them saw Li Kekai and Zhou Yutong at the gate of the manor. Li Feixuan nodded, then asked with a smile, didn't you two go to have a big dinner? How was it? What kind of big dinner was it? Is it delicious? While the two were talking, Li Feixuan suddenly said. Kekai, Tong Tong, why are you here? Li Feixuan asked with a smile. Li Feixuan held her head high and said proudly, when you reach my level, you will naturally discover it, so you have to work hard. Su Yang smiled and said, honey, you must already know. I won't hide it from you. In fact, I am a descendant of the Su family. Suwaji is my great-grandfather. That void tower was left to me by my great-grandfather. Hey, Gage, don't worry, I will protect you too. Li Feixuan put on a sisterly attitude. Li Feixuan smiled softly and walked out of the room. You're stupid, there are only 24 hours in a day. Concubine Li glanced at Su Yang, and then said arrogantly, however, no matter how hard you try, you can't catch up with me. After all, talent is very important. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 788. Feast. After a while, Li Kekai gritted her teeth and said angrily, the yarn feast makes me so angry. Oh my, if I had known this, I would have gone to eat hot pot with you. What happened? Li Feixuan asked curiously, is it because the big meal doesn't suit your appetite? What? Li Kekai said with a dark face, when the guy was chatting online, he said he would take us to a big dinner, and we had a pretty good chat after meeting. The young man is tall and burly, his appearance is passable, he speaks well, and is a bit dull, but we told Tong Tong that she likes this type, and we were about to get married, but when we were having dinner, the guy actually brought let's go eat malatang. Li Kekai gritted her teeth and said, it's okay to eat malatang. I also like to eat malatang, but the key thing is that he didn't let us take the basin. He made a basin himself and said he would take it for us so that we could all eat together. That's okay. You just sit and wait to eat. Why are you so angry? Li Feixuan comforted her, Kekai, didn't I tell you, you should be more tolerant of others and don't be self-righteous. Shit. Li Kekai looked really angry and gritted her teeth and said, I don't care about that guy getting his own food, but sister, do you know how much malatang he got? Generally, malatang requires at least 30 yuan per person to be full. Li Feixuan answered truthfully. He only took 6 yuan of malatang. Li Kekai said bitterly, 6 yuan, an average of 2 yuan per person, to eat a woolen yarn, and each person has a chopstick and is gone. I have never seen such a stingy person. He invited someone to dinner. He praised Haikao before, and then chose to eat spicy hot pot. He only ordered a dish that cost 6 yuan. Li Kekai took Zhou Yutong's hand and said angrily, Tong Tong, delete his contact information quickly and don't meet him again in the future. It's so disgusting. 6 yuan of malatang, who are you looking down on? Poor me, I was ready for a big meal, but I even gave up on hot pot, and ended up eating a lot of air. Li Kekai said angrily, when I think of this, I feel so angry that my stomach hurts. Kekai. But Zhou Yutong said, don't be angry. Maybe Brother Zhang has spent all his money and is short of money, so he is so cautious. Didn't Brother Zhang say that he will take us to Joseph for a real feast next time? Yarn. I don't believe it. A grown man with muscles all over his body doesn't even have money to eat. He invited us to Joseph next time and made an appointment with his husband. How can a man who pays 6 yuan for a spicy hot pot be willing to take us to Joseph? I don't believe it. Li Kekai had a deep resentment towards Brother Zhang and said seriously, listen to me, Kekai, that guy just looks down on people. Don't contact him, or you will be defrauded of money and sex by him. If you think about it carefully, that guy is big and round, almost 2 meters tall. He looks like a big bear. He can probably knock you down with one punch. Li Kekai threatened, if you are really together, if you quarrel one day, wouldn't he slap your head in circles? Also, as you said just now, he is short of money. Such a person is the most terrifying. If he is so poor and crazy, he might sell you to northern Myanmar. Li Kekai threatened Zhou Yutong, and then said, when the time comes, I will buckle your waist, gouge out your eyeballs, and exchange them for money. It's scary to think about it. No, I cannot. But Zhou Yutong believed in Brother Zhang, shook his head and said, Brother Zhang is not that kind of person. I trust him. He looks honest, and he will definitely not be able to do such a thing. Tong Tong, you are in danger. Li Kekai advised, don't just judge people by their superficial appearance. Most of the time you say he is honest, he is probably pretending to deceive an inexperienced girl like you. You spend all day watching Pai Pai Xia. There are so many talented people there, but you don't have any sense of precaution. I feel so ashamed to be a Pai Pai friend with you, Li Kekai said with hatred. Kekai, don't be so serious. Anyway, I believe in Brother Zhang, Zhou Yutong said with firm eyes. It's over, Tong Tong, you've fallen into that guy's trap. Li Kekai gritted her teeth and said, when you are sold to northern Myanmar, don't call me and let me redeem you. Seeing how angry Li Kekai was, Zhou Yutong said nothing to avoid adding fuel to the fire. Compared to that guy, my brother-in-law is really good. Li Kekai did not continue this topic, but looked at Su Yang and said with a flattering smile, brother-in-law, when will you take me to a big dinner? Also, brother-in-law, I have taken a fancy to a bag. My mother thinks there are a lot of them, but they won't buy them for me, and my sister won't buy them for me either, saying I have the same style. But I don't have that color. I like pink. That new style bag is so pretty. Li Kekai came over in a hurry, hugged Su Yang's arm, shook it and said, brother-in-law, can you buy it for me? I beg you. Haha, of course, no problem. Su Yang smiled softly and said, it's too late today. The shops are probably closed. Let's do it tomorrow. I will definitely buy it for you tomorrow. Hey, thank you, brother-in-law, he's so nice. Li Kekai showed a successful smile and made a cute gesture. Kekai, you girl. Li Feixuan glanced at Li Kekai and then said, Tong Tong's vision is much better than yours. You can't slander that brother Zhang anymore. Maybe I really forgot to bring money, and I'm too embarrassed to tell you directly, so I decided to treat you to spicy hot pot. Li Feixuan said in a preaching tone, as a virgin, it's not about how much the other person spends on you, but how much the other person is willing to pay for you. If brother Zhang only has 6 yuan and is still willing to spend it all to treat you to dinner, it means that he cares about Tong Tong, so you shouldn't pick on him. Don't listen. Li Kekai covered her ears, then curled her lips and said, sister, don't force me to drink this chicken soup. I'm already very angry. If I drink this chicken soup from you, I'll probably be useless. That brother Zhang is obviously a bad guy with bad intentions. He wanted to defraud Tong Tong for only 6 yuan. Li Kekai waved her fist and said through gritted teeth, if Tong Tong hadn't pulled me just now, I would have punched him twice to let him know how powerful I am. You girl. Li Feixuan wanted to educate Li Kekai again, but at this time, Zhang Qingshui, who had been silent, spoke up. Fei Xian. Zhang Qingshui stood up and said with a smile, this time I agree with Kekai, what Kekai said is quite good. When we treat guests to dinner, how can we eat spicy hot pot? We still eat spicy hot pot for 6 yuan. Zhang Qingshui continued, I won't talk about others. If my brother does this, I will punch him until he can't find the southeast, northwest, and northwest. Are you kidding me? Who can't afford spicy hot pot for $6? If you look down on someone like this for the first time when we meet, there is no need to contact him again in the future. Zhang Qingshui continued, this is not just a matter of eating spicy hot pot for 6 yuan. The main thing is that this person's character has been revealed. He is really rubbish. Yeah. Li Kekai ran to Zhang Qingshui and said excitedly, Sister Gage, you better understand me, this is what I mean. You are so unqualified, you don't understand any rules, And you don't know what kind of family can teach such a man, Li Kekai cursed. Haha, do you even need to ask? Quality is related to his family. I guess everyone in his family is like this too, Zhang Qingshui said disdainfully. Sister Gage, what you said is so good. Li Kekai was so excited that she hurriedly said, that guy also told us that he has a sister, and even though he is tall and thick, his sister is very beautiful. He also said that his sister was liked by many people and had countless suitors when she was there. Li Kekai said disdainfully, I complained at the time. He was born from a mother's womb, he is so tall, and how good looking his sister is. It was obviously deceiving people, and Tong Tong was stupid enough to believe it. Haha, that Tong Tong is really stupid. Zhang Qingshui smiled and said, I guess his sister also has thick arms and legs, and maybe she is also big and round. Kekai, you are so beautiful, I give you a thumbs up. That's right. Li Kekai continued, I don't know what those people who like his sister are like, ha ha ha. It's obviously fake. Zhang Qingshui looked at Zhou Yutong next to him and persuaded seriously, this time you really have to listen to Kekai. What she said makes sense. Don't disobey her and delete that person quickly. You like burly ones, that's easy. In fact, I have a younger brother who is very burly and pretty good looking. Zhang Qingshui smiled and said, Tong Tong, I am quite satisfied with you. If you are willing, I can introduce you to my brother. You will be my younger brother and sister-in-law, and we can see each other often in the future. Zhou Yutong often comes to Jiangbei to play with Li Kekai, and Zhang Qingshui is Li Feixuan's best friend. Therefore, the four of them often go shopping, eat, buy clothes, etc. together, so they are quite familiar with each other. Zhang Qingshui really fell in love with Zhou Yutong and thought this little girl was very good. Although he does not know martial arts and does not know how to practice ancient martial arts, Zhou Yutong is beautiful and a good person. The most important thing is that Zhang Qingshui understands her and is a good choice to be his younger brother. Thank you Sister Gage for your kindness. Let's forget it. But Zhou Yutong decisively refused, combed her hair in front of her forehead, and whispered, I think you all have misunderstood Brother Zhang. I have chatted with him online for a long time, and I know that he is really not what you think. Tong Tong, you. Zhang Qingshui sighed and said, hey, I won't advise you anymore. The authorities are obsessed with it. When you slow down and come to your senses, you will know how wrong you are. That is. After working on it for a long time, it turns out that guy is his brother? Zhang Magu said with a smile, what a coincidence, it turns out we all know each other. Kekai's brother-in-law is my good brother, and I. Li Kekai seemed to have found an ally no matter what Zhang Qingshui said, she agreed. Zhang Magu only had Zhou Yutong in his eyes. He walked happily to Zhou Yutong, scratched the back of his head, and said a little shyly, Tong Tong, we meet again. I had foolishly complained about that guy's sister just now. Wasn't that just complaining about myself? At this moment. Okay, you big-headed ghost. After seeing Zhang Magu, Li Kekai jumped up immediately, pointed at Zhang Magu and was very excited, her eyes were full of shock, gritted her teeth and said, you actually dare to follow me, you are really not good-hearted. Brother-in-law Kekai's home. This is not young Master Su's, haha, I understand. This is Kekai's brother-in-law's home. Kekai brought me here to stay for a few days, Zhou Yutong responded shyly. Li Kekai hurried over, blocked Zhou Yutong behind her, and then said fiercely, big guy, you are too brave. You actually found this place and got close to my brother-in-law. Damn it! Do you think we will believe it? The people who were stunned at the scene were not only Li Kekai, but also Zhang Qingshui, who were also dumbfounded. Brother-in-law, quickly expose him and then give him a beating to see if he dares to take Tong Tong's bad ideas. As she said that, Li Kekai looked at Su Yang next to her. Tong Tong, why are you here, Zhang Magu asked softly, his tone full of tenderness. Su Yang smiled softly and said, well, Kikai, the big guy you mentioned is really my brother. I think this is a misunderstanding. Sister. Tong Tong, Tong Tong, as a good friend, I will definitely not let you meet him alone. What if that old woman, his sister, takes you? Immediately afterwards, Li Kekai said another thing, by the way, Sister Gege, that guy said that when we meet next time, he will bring his sister with him, saying that he will let his sister control the situation. Guess, he is what's the meaning? Recalling what he said before, Zhang Qingshui was immediately stunned and wished he could find a crack in the ground to crawl in. Well. Zhang Magu ignored Li Kekai, Su Yang, Li Feixuan, and his sister. Zhou Yutong nodded, then lowered his head shyly, embarrassed to look at Zhang Magu. You. Zhang Qingshui paused, then suddenly realized, Kekai, her sister must be the liaison, right? A big-bodied old woman just took Tong Tong away by force, and then, it's terrible. That makes sense. At this time, Zhang Magu was no longer affected by his sloppy beard. He had straightened his hair, shaved his beard, and put on a large black suit. He looked like a bodyguard kept by a rich man. Zhang Qingshui said, you must not get too close to this kind of person, otherwise it will be dangerous. Hearing this, Li Kekai was stunned immediately, her eyes were full of surprise, and her little face froze. Li Kekai nodded seriously and said, that's definitely the case. It's so abominable. Not only is he bad, but his sister is not a good person either. It was obvious that she had a crush on Zhang Magu. The big, round-waisted sister is actually me? It's a good idea that it's not bad. If you think about it this way. Right. Zhang Qingshui was talking when Zhang Magu suddenly walked over. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 789. Shame on you. It's really embarrassing. Zhang Qingshui didn't know what to say for a moment, and stood there with a dark face. Sister Gege, I heard this big guy call you sister just now. Don't you guys know him? At this moment, Li Kekai seemed to have thought of something, and her eyes fell on Zhang Qingshui. No. He is my brother, how could I not know him? But. At this moment, Zhang Qingshui felt repulsive and wanted to say that he didn't know Zhang Magu at all. I'm not familiar with him, Zhang Qingshui coughed twice and was about to deny it. Sister. At this time, Zhang Magu's eyes fell on Zhang Qingshui, he touched the bridge of his nose and said, so you know Li Kekai, sister, please help me explain. Li Kekai has always been very repulsive to me, she always says bad things about me, don't let Tong Tong meet me again. Exclusion. As your sister, I reject you. But considering his brother's lifelong event, Zhang Qingshui had no choice but to bite the bullet and said, Kekai, actually, this big guy is the younger brother I just mentioned, my biological brother. There must be a misunderstanding between you. I understand my brother's character. He has no bad intentions, but he is a bit dull. As you slowly get to know him, you will understand everything, Zhang Qingshui added. Okay, Sister Gege, it turns out you and this big guy are in the same group. Li Kekai was furious. After learning the truth, she refused to listen to the explanation and said through gritted teeth, Tong Tong, let's go and ignore them. With that said, Li Kekai took Zhou Yutong's hand and strode into the Su family manor. Brother-in-law, Tong Tong, and I live on the second floor. Don't disturb us. Don't let that big guy come to us, otherwise I will break up with you. Li Kekai said seriously, and then took Zhou Yutong and disappeared from everyone's sight. Kekai. Li Feixuan still wanted to persuade, but Li Kekai and Li Kekai were already far away, so she looked at Zhang Magu and said, "Mr. Zhang, Kekai is more willful. Don't be like her. When she calms down, I will talk to you again. She explains it well and won't let her affect your relationship with Tong Tong." "Thank you, sister-in-law Fei Xian." Zhang Magu hurriedly thanked them, then said with a grimace, "It's my fault too. I told them before that I would treat them to a big dinner, but in the end they only had spicy hot pot, which cost 6 yuan. It was very embarrassing." Haha, yes, Kekai is angry because of this. As Zhang Qingshui spoke, he raised his foot and kicked Zhang Magu's body, and then said sternly, "If you don't have money, don't follow the example of asking a girl to dinner. You will embarrass the face of our Zhang family. If this spreads out, will the Zhang family in Fenyang City be stabbed in the back? 2,000 yuan, sister, do you know how I spent the past 6 months? Zhang Magu felt very ashamed, even the money for the coffee was paid for by Tong Tong. "So I lived in the deep mountains and old forests. I was unshaven and unkempt. Actually, I didn't want to be like this." Li Feixuan continued, "She is ready for a big meal today. She has probably been hungry since noon and is waiting for a big meal in the evening. What a miserable man." Zhang Magu continued, "After I said goodbye to you, I went to the barber shop and the shopping mall, and the swish in my hand was like running water. I originally planned to buy a bottle of perfume, but in the end I ran out of money and only had $6 left. It's a buck." Zhang Qingshui gritted his teeth and said, "I can't care if you throw away the Zhang family. It just so happened that Tong Tong and Li Kekai came here at this time. We met and chatted, and then went to eat. But you actually shamed me. Kekai and Tong Tong and I all know each other. My face has been completely humiliated today. I called her before and asked her to come have hot pot, but she refused. It shows how much she is looking forward to the big meal. The only son of the 9th generation of the Zhang family, he invited someone to dinner, and he actually ate spicy hot pot for 6 yuan. I was so angry. When I think about it, I can't wait to find a crack in the ground and crawl into it." Zhang Mu grimaced in pain, hurriedly ran to hide behind Su Yang, and then explained with a grimace, "I don't want this either. This time when I come to Jiangbei, Grandpa will give me 2,000 yuan. Fuck, fuck. Zhang Magu." Zhang Magu said, "Then please ask sister-in-law Feixuan to help intercede. I can see that Tong Tong and Li Kekai have a very good relationship. If Kekai still hates me, Tong Tong will definitely not meet me again." Zhang Qingshui was so angry that he kicked Zhang Magu down and kicked him a few more times before he gave up. "How will I face them in the future? You are such a shameful thing." Concubine Li said with a smile, "But you only invited them to eat spicy hot pot. The key is that it is not enough to fill the gap between the teeth. It is right for her to be angry with you. Hey, sister, it hurts. But you don't have to worry about it. Kekai is very easy to coax. Once she wakes up from sleep, she will forget everything. Put it on me," Concubine Li promised with a smile. "I was planning to call you to borrow money, but for some reason, your phone calls couldn't be reached. I had no choice but to use the 6 yuan left in my hand to force them to eat malatang." Zhang Magu almost burst into tears as he spoke, "The prices are so high now. I can't bear to rent a house, eat, or even buy a razor." Hearing these words, Su Yang, Li Feixuan, and Zhang Qingshui all fell silent. Unexpectedly, when Zhang Magu heard this, his pupils dilated and he jumped up. While the two were talking, Zhang Qingshui strode over, grabbed his brother's ear, and said through gritted teeth, "You brat, what's going on?" Li Feixuan said with a smile, "Kekai doesn't have any shortcomings, she just likes to eat. I came out today just to use the money I had to sort myself out, and then go on a date with Tong Tong, but I bumped into you, and that's what happened next." Zhang Magu also felt that his behavior was very embarrassing, Originally, they wouldn't make spicy hot pot for less than 8 yuan, so I had to be shameless and beg for nothing, otherwise I wouldn't even be able to make spicy hot pot for 6 yuan. Cannot eat. Zhang Magu said helplessly, but I have no choice but to save money. I'm asking you if it's shameful to treat someone to dinner and only eat 6 yuan worth of malatang. After a few seconds, Zhang Qingshui couldn't help but said, when I went out 2 or 3 years ago, my grandfather gave me a bank card. There were tens of millions in the card and I was allowed to spend it as I wanted. What's wrong with you? Only give you 2,000. Sometimes you scold her and she won't get angry. She's very big-hearted, but as long as eating is involved, she's as petty-minded as a pinprick. Not only towards you, but also towards me. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 790. How many, tens of millions? Zhang Magu hurried over, hugged Zhang Qingshui's arm, and asked seriously, Sister, what you said is true, you didn't lie to me, right? Zhang Qingshui directly shook off Zhang Magu and responded, why am I lying to you? Our Zhang family is not short of money. Although the richest man in Fenyang City is not as wealthy as other forces, he still has tens of billions of assets and several thousand. It's nothing. Depend on. When Zhang Magu heard this, his face suddenly darkened, and he gritted his teeth and said, it's not fair, Grandpa, you are too partial. When I came over, my grandfather told me that the Zhang family was not good at doing business and didn't have much money. He gave me these 2,000 yuan and he would be frugal for several years. He told me not to spend money frivolously. Let me use your money wisely. Zhang Magu gritted his teeth and said, it turns out that he is lying to me. It's so unfair. After all, I am also the 9th generation of the Zhang family and his grandson. I don't accept that he treats me like this. Snapped. Zhang Qingshui raised his hand and slapped Zhang Magu hard on the forehead, and then said, be honest with me, what are you mumbling about? You don't obey Grandpa, do you want to disobey me? Zhang Magu immediately lowered his head and stopped talking. Grandpa is right to do this. As the future head of the Zhang family, you must not spend money lavishly. Otherwise, even if you have tens of thousands of dollars in wealth, you will not be able to keep it. Zhang Qingshui also felt that his grandfather had gone too far, so he did not continue the topic. Give me 2,000 yuan. This is really little. At any rate, I can make do with 20,000 yuan. What should I do now? Although Tong Tong didn't say it, her impression of me may have been greatly reduced. At this moment, Zhang Magu was a little frustrated, his eyes fell on Su Yang, and he hurriedly said, young Master Su, good brother, you must help me this time, I really like Tong Tong. Haha, don't worry. Su Yang smiled softly and said, you are worrying too much. Tong Tong has a pretty good impression of you. When Kikai complained about you just now, she was still defending you. She said that you might be short of money, but she didn't look down on you. Please eat spicy hot pot for 6 yuan. Really, ha ha ha, Tong Tong is so kind and considerate. She is indeed the girl I like. Zhang Magu happily imagined, if I can marry her home, my family will definitely accept her. Snapped. Zhang Qingshui raised his hand and slapped him again, then poured cold water on him and said, don't be happy so early. This is my card. I only ate 6 yuan worth of malatang in the evening. I must still be hungry. Go out and buy some, send the food to the second floor. With that said, Zhang Qingshui took out a bank card and threw it to Zhang Magu. Haha, thank you sister. Zhang Magu took the bank card and was very happy, but then he said in frustration, Kikai just said she wouldn't let me go to the second floor. You have a stupid head. Zhang Qingshui was not polite, raised his hand and slapped her, and then said, didn't Fei Xian just say that Kikai is a foodie, she must be very happy when you put the delicious food at the door. When Kikai is happy, she will naturally not stop it. You met Tong Tong. I understand, then I'm going to buy something now. Young Master Su, sister-in-law Xian, I'm leaving first. Zhang Magu didn't care that his sister beat him. After saying goodbye, he hurriedly disappeared into the night. This guy, damn, he's learned some things like that, but his head is still dull. Zhang Qingshui couldn't help complaining, I saw just now that Tong Tong really has a crush on him. I even wonder if Tong Tong is stupid. It's really unimaginable how she could be such a thing. Puff. Concubine Li laughed loudly, and then said, Gag, how can anyone say that about his own brother? Everyone has their own preferences for radish and green vegetables. You don't like it, but Tong Tong likes this. Everyone cares about feelings. It's impossible to tell. That's right, everyone has their own preferences for carrots and vegetables. Zhang Qingshui smiled and said, Tong Tong is such a good girl, you really take advantage of this guy. Young Master Zhang is also very good. Gag, please stop making fun of your brother. Concubine Li Xian smiled and said, by the way, Gag, you just said you don't like your brother's type. So what kind of brother do you like? I can help you introduce a boyfriend. I almost forgot. I remember you said before that you like young and promising business elites, the kind of gentle CEOs in novels. Li Feixuan smiled and said, I happen to know a few pretty good CEOs, why don't I introduce you to them? No. Zhang Qingshui hurriedly shook his head and refused, that is Zhang Yu's criteria for choosing a mate. Now that my memory has been restored, I am Zhang Qingshui. I don't like any kind of CEO. I like martial arts masters. They are extremely domineering. They are superior to tens of millions of people and dominate an era. When he said this, Zhang Qingshui glanced at Su Yang intentionally or unintentionally, his expression full of admiration. That's it? Li Feixuan smiled softly and said, forget it, I don't know people at that level, but don't worry. When I become stronger in the future and get to know such masters, I will introduce them to you as soon as possible. No. You know him. Su Yang is. Zhang Qingshui looked at Su Yang again, but did not say what was in his heart. Honey, if you knew such an awesome master, would you dump me? Su Yang touched the bridge of his nose and said pitifully. Of course. Li Feixuan said jokingly, so Su Yang, you'd better be nice to me now, otherwise I won't want you when I get better. Honey, you are so cruel, no, I will punish you tonight, Su Yang said, and came over to hug Li Feixuan. You think so well, but you have forgotten that I can't eat spicy food. It's been inconvenient recently. Also, I feel like I'm about to break through in the past few days. Don't interrupt my practice. I want to break through to martial saint and get to know stronger handsome masters as soon as possible. Li Feixuan pushed Su Yang away, curled her lips, and then went back upstairs to practice. But the so-called finding an expert and handsome guy was just a joke. What happened today made her deeply aware of her own weakness. Li Feixuan wants to practice hard and break through as soon as possible, so that she can have the strength to protect Su Yang and her family. Of course, it is true that he is physically inconvenient. We cannot let Su Yang fight bloody battles. Su Yang watched his wife leave without chasing her because it was really inconvenient. Also, Su Yang has to do something important. After leaving seclusion this time, he had no information about his sister, and his father and grandfather also lost contact with his sister. Now that it would take a day or two for the spiritual energy to recover, he had his hands free and planned to find his sister. Just seeing the interaction between Zhang Qingshui and Zhang Magu made Su Yang deeply touched and missed his sister even more. Therefore, Su Yang plans to go to Kyoto tonight to find out about the situation from Long Xin Tian. He must know the whereabouts of his sister. Su Yang couldn't let go if he couldn't see his sister for one day.